Hello, my name is Samantha Lewis. I'm thrilled to have had the opportunity to create this project for my master's degree from the University of West Georgia in sport management. There's so many nooks and crannies that go along with this particular project that I hope that I don't miss any. We were giving just a short amount of time for our presentation, so I want to make sure I hit all the high points. So let's go ahead and get started. For me, this project serves many purposes. It was an opportunity for me to be able to explore my own personal brand, which I didn't have before I started this project. I got to take what I learned through my research and present it to a group of people and help other students like me looking to perfect their personal brand before graduation. Here's some of the nooks and crannies that I was talking about in the previous slide. Here you'll see a how-to guide in the form of a 12-page ebook. Now you can download the ebook by scanning this particular QR code. It's a great introduction to personal branding and comes complete with a video library, including video instructions on how to create your logo, your website, flyers, envelopes, letterhead, and business cards pretty much for free. Because let's face it, we're college students. We need to be able to afford these things, get our careers off the ground, or get accepted into our next graduate program. On this slide, you're going to find the logo that I actually created for myself through my research in the personal branding. This project actually aims to offer all the college students access to affordable marketing tools with easy to follow instructions on how to create their own brand while using it to market themselves to employers, future employers, or graduate admissions teams. So the sport management program at University of West Georgia, they teach a lot about personal branding. The entire process can be a little bit challenging and kind of overwhelming, at least it was for me. So it's my hope that this particular project can help students of not only sport management program, but all graduate and undergraduate students at the university level. When we're talking about research, the very first thing we need to do is set our SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym. Is the goal specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? And can it be met in a time-bound requirement? I believe that this particular project had all the SMART goals that it needed to prove that it was specific and measurable and attainable and relevant and time-bound. I know that I had less than 16 weeks to get this project going. Like I said, there are so many nooks and crannies that go along with this particular project that at some points I was questioning it, but I did pull it off. And for me, I'm so pleased with the project and all of the things I was able to produce out of it that I do feel like it fell into that time-bound category. Is it relevant? Of course it is. We're all trying to graduate in this capstone class. We all want to be done, right? And so we need our personal brand to be able to go on to our next step. So everything that I'm teaching inside of this project is very relevant to where we're going in our next steps. Is it attainable? Absolutely. It has many components that are achievable in the short time span that was allowed for the project. How is it measurable? Well, we go through the building of a website, the writing of a how-to guide, the delivery of a webinar. And once the webinar was complete, the participants took part in a survey where the researcher can conclude how many students who attended are going to be able to create their own logo, website, and their personal brand. And of course, specificity. The goal of this project is to assist students in creating and building their own brand on a budget, which in my definition of a budget is free. I think that it's really important to talk about stakeholders when we're talking about research. For this particular project, it is my belief that graduating college students or even students who aren't quite ready to graduate or they're getting ready to enter in the workforce or graduate school. I also think college athletes or who want to build their brand, they would benefit greatly from this research. I also think students who want to impress hiring employers I've said it a couple of times during this presentation, the graduate admissions team, anything like that. Anybody that might be impressed with the CV that matches a website that has the same logos might be beneficial. There are other stakeholders, but these are the main ones that we're talking about now. These are the students who I want to help through this research. This research was collected by way of a survey. Now, this survey was created on a website called Survey Planet, and the data was collected by providing a webinar on how to create a personal brand, logo, and a website to host that personal brand. The webinar lasted about an hour with time for questions and the survey, and there were about 20 attendees at the webinar. And while I understand the numbers are small, it is believed that the research project could be an excellent foundation for those students ready to graduate and move into the workforce or on to graduate school. For me, this slide is a shameless plug. I just wanted to offer anyone watching this presentation to see the flyer that I created for the webinar located on the left side of the slide. Now, if anybody had seen my website or my logo, they'll know that all the colors and the fonts in this flyer match what I created in my logo. I just simply placed a QR code where anybody could scan and join, make it super easy for everybody. On the right side of the screen, you're going to see the actual webinar. Now, it's an hour-long video, maybe a little bit less. I gave them time for questions and time for the survey, so a little bit less than an hour. And if you're interested in watching the video, you can email me to request a copy of this presentation. For me, this is the most interesting part of the presentation, the survey evaluation questions. I want to follow up this particular slide with some slides of questions and the results that we saw and see if we can come up with a conclusion that goes along with that. We had 13 participants who answered the questions of the survey after the webinar, and the very first question that they answered was, overall, how satisfied were you with the webinar on building a website? Where 11 of the participants were very satisfied, 2 were satisfied, and 0% of the participants were less than satisfied with the actual webinar itself. The second question asked in the survey was, how would you rate the quality of the content presented during the webinar? We had 12 participants that said the quality of the content was excellent. We had 1 participant that said that the content was above average. No one rated the content of the webinar less than above average. The next question that we asked the participants was, did the webinar meet your expectations? Where 10 people said it exceeded my expectations, and 3 people said it met my expectations. There wasn't anyone who stated that it did not meet any expectations. We threw an open-ended question in the center of the survey just to get a little bit of personal feedback to see what everybody was actually interested in with this website webinar. And there was a tie between website building platform and website design. Coming in at a close second, we have website customization, and then following up, content creation. We have an other category, and inside that other category, we had 1 participant who mentioned that it might be useful in our future research, where we're going to keep building on this research, to include things that maybe we want to avoid when we're building our website, whether it's colors, verbiage, pictures, any of those things. And I think that's a fantastic place to start when we're talking about furthering the research of the actual project. The next question we asked participants was, how engaging was the presenter during the webinar? 11 of those participants said very engaging, where only 2 said engaging. But the great news is that 0% of these participants thought that the presenter during the webinar was less than engaging. And that's a win for me doing this research, not ever having done something like this, doing a webinar in front of people that I didn't know. So this thrilled me. I was ecstatic about this one. Question is in the survey simply to help me build the platform for further research of this project, where the visual aids like the slides, the demonstrations, everything that was shown during that webinar helpful in understanding the content. Of course, 11 of those said it was very helpful. 2 of them said it was helpful, but nobody rated it less than helpful. Finally, the big question. What I really wanted to know is if I'd ever decide to build on this baseline research and go a step further, I wanted to know, would anyone be interested in attending advanced webinars on website building in the future? This might be where we house questions like, what do we stay away from in the website? How do, what colors are the best? And that gets into a whole different realm of research. So 11 people said yes, they would attend. 2 people said maybe, but nobody said no. So I feel like we're winning. No, I think this project is fantastic. I am biased. It's my project, but it's a mixed methods research, and it shows that an informative webinar for college students on how to build their own personal brand for almost no investment whatsoever can be successful. Overall, students are receptive to the idea of building their own personal brand. And the sport management program, especially at the University of West Georgia, personal branding is a topic of study in most of the 7 core classes. So a webinar like this one that could be provided could prove to be a vital component of the learning experience presented in the program. There's a lot of opportunity for future research within the provided content. If you want to scan this QR code, it will take you to the website I created while I was doing this research, and I love it. It's a clear representation of me. It offers a lot of interactive pictures. You can click on them. It'll take you to different places. You can learn all about where I come from, what I stand for, what my dog looks like. I felt really accomplished when I was finally done with this particular website. I plan on the website evolving while I am, but for now, I love it. Thank you so much for watching my presentation.